Hello, welcome to our Podcast De Deux, the podcast about Princess TuTu, which is the greatest anime ever made. I am Squid Miku, but I am your teacher for this ballet lesson, so call me Mr. Squid. And who are you?
I'm Pawn.
All right.
I have an interest in the art of ballet, if thou wouldst teach me.
Yes, good. The other person who may or may not actually be here.
And I am Antimattertape.
Oh, he's real. Okay.
Yes, I am.
All right.
And I think ballet is boring.
Oh no.
Literally fucking kill yourself.
But it's always good in a podcast to have someone play the devil's advocate.
All right.
As in, I have never seen Princess TuTu, and I have no interest in seeing Princess
Well,
TuTu.
hopefully after this, you will change your mind because, like I said, it is the greatest anime ever. Literally nothing is better. So, let's see. In this podcast, we are watching episode 1, The Duck and the Prince, and then episode 2, Heart Shard. Okay, so first off, when the episode starts, we get a cute little storybook thing talking about the author of the book mostly, and then into the story itself.
Man, we're just going through it moment by moment.
Yes, basically. We're just gonna go through. I have my notes things.
Okay, I
They're
didn't
kind of
take
cryptid.
notes for every single scene, but I can keep up.
We're not gonna be on anything very long unless it's super important. I'm just gonna run through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we learn about the Raven and the Prince story, very important, and it sets up this whole idea that this is like supposed to be like any other fantasy tale, and the imagery already shows you that in the opening when we finally see Duck. I almost forgot the most important fucking part. The fucking Princess TuTu opening is beautiful and I love it.
It is quite well.
Morning Grace is my life. And
Yeah, that's a really nice song. The animation's really well synced to it. I can appreciate all these, the small details with the techniques in the ballet.
yes.
It's all there.
My favorite part is actually right at the end when it fades to black and it's Princess TuTu in the mysterious lake type of place, and she just does an arabesque and there's all the fairies around her, and I love it. It's beautiful. 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a duck and the duck wants to fuck a human.
What duck doesn't?
Honestly, ducks, the rapists of the
Animal
mammals.
Kingdom.
Yeah, the animal kingdom. I took a note in that scene. It is the music for the Sugar Plum Fairy Dance.
Yes, I caught that.
Yes, which is one of my favorite pieces. And the name of the episode, although it's in German, in the text, it translates to The Nutcracker Waltz of the Flowers.
So, I recall you said something in chat, I think, before I started watching Princess TuTu, because you talking about it in the chat kind of finally got me around to watching it. You said something like, the entirety of Princess TuTu is a retelling of Swan Lake, but then...
Yes and no. It is Swan Lake, but it is also partly the Nutcracker and many other famous ballets like Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. It's like every ballet.
Right. But, the story at large is most of the stories that are represented are kind of just smaller, represented in individual episodes.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's overall the entire story. If to put it more simply, because it goes a lot deeper than Swan Lake, it is Swan Lake if it was not obvious.
So there are ballets of Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty?
Yes.
I guess now that I think about it, it would make sense if Swan Lake and the Nutcracker also came from fairy tales originally and were adapted into ballets.
Swan Lake and the Nutcracker themselves were originally ballets. They weren't stories. But things like Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty had been around for a while because of grim fairy tales.
Are you saying that ballet doesn't tell stories?
What? No, they are the story.
I'm joking. Yeah, you meant they weren't originally fairy tales like Snow White and Cinderella were.
The most deep story is it's pretty easy to find a performance of Swan Lake anywhere online by like any of the major professional.
Oh yeah, I have plenty of experience with Swan Lake and the Nutcracker specifically because I've seen
the Barbie movies.
The Barbie movies for both.
Those are very bad retellings of those stories and are not very accurate.
My sisters were really into the Barbie movies.
So was I.
When we were little kids, so I have watched them both multiple times.
I still own the VHS copies of both of those.
Oh man, I've never heard of those. I mean, I'm familiar with the stories, but that's because I've been in like orchestra class all my life, and sometimes we'll just take a day off and like watch a movie or something. And there were some renditions of the Nutcracker and Swan Lake that we wound up watching like that. Yes,
both Nutcracker and Swan Lake are the major influences on the series, which is part of the reason why the music is used so much from both is used so much in there, and they're both from the same what the fuck is his name? Conductor Tarkovsky, the German guy. But all the music is great. I legitimately, no joke, have it downloaded on my phone to listen to it anytime.
Hey, I believe that. It is some pretty interesting music.
Yeah. So I really like the dream scene because it really kind of sets itself up to be like an average magical girl fairy tale shoujo show, which gets turned on its fucking head later on.
I mean, I don't know much about that. I'm only up to like episode 9.
Oh, okay. That's when shit starts happening. Really.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's kind of going places now. But just for this first episode, I think it does a very concise job of setting everything up. Like by the end of the first episode, we understand just about everything that we need to for the early portion of the show.
Yeah, it's a very good first.
So basically, what you're saying, it goes from Disney movie retelling of say Frozen to the original Snow Queen version halfway through the series.
Basically,
like it takes a much darker twist on the fairy tales compared to how we're used to now.
Yeah, yes. But that's something I actually want to bring up is there's sort of two sides of this story being told. There's like this sort of realistic darker undertone, which is there the whole time, but then you've got the way that it's viewed through the lens of the protagonist, Ahiru, because she's a lot more idealistic than any other character in the show, and that really comes through with how we interpret the story.
She's a duck.
Right.
I just wanted to bring up something important. In what language did you watch this?
I did
and
watch
how did you watch it?
The Japanese.
Okay, I watch it in English because I actually think the English dub is not that bad, and also because it's on Amazon Prime.
Do you want me to call her Duck? Would that make things a little bit easier?
No, you can do whatever you want.
I'm
just concerned people listening will get confused.
I can just say Duck.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Good.
Right. Specifically, the way that she acts during a lot of these first two episodes is she acts a lot more like an anime character than a lot of the other ones. Like you've got her two friends who are pretty much just like a Greek chorus, and they're great. but they're not really, super plot relevant. But when you look at like Prince Muto, like his introduction, you can immediately tell that he is not all there, that there is something not quite right with him, because Duck's she's staring at him and she's like freaking out, and he's just like completely stone faced. He's like, hey, what's up? Not Duck, really, I don't know.
Yeah, Duck, to quote, says he has very lonely eyes.
Yes.
Also in my note it says, holy fuck, Duck is so fucking moe, oh my god.
I have pretty much the exact same note.
Duck is so adorable, and I absolutely love her, and I don't know how someone might not like her.
It's really impressive. I think the animation in this show does a lot for the characterization of her. It's very expressive.
Yeah, it is. It's so good, and it's so adorable. Oh my god.
Oh wow, I just pulled up Duck on Google Images, and basically she's drawn like just like yellow basic shapes, like a yellow circle for the head, yellow circle for the body.
Oh, in her duck form?
And then just has the anime eyes, the normal, huge round anime eyes projected.
But even her duck form is so adorable. I want a plushie of it so badly.
Okay, so where were we? We were up to like 2 minutes into the show, I think.
Basically, yes. Okay, it establishes very early on the storytelling device in this series of the pas de deux. Hold on, I have to pull out my vocabulary notes. Shit. Oh God.
I'm excited for this.
I am currently taking a ballet history class, and I have to write down all the vocabulary notes of what shit means, and I'm like 25% sure I wrote down what pas de deux meant. Oh God. I didn't. Well, pas de deux is basically just means a dance between two people, usually the romance characters within the story. And it sets up that is something very important to basically everyone in the story, and I love that. And I also have a note that Muto dances like not dances. He what's it called? He is the ballerina in the music box. He dances like it. Like, I observed the way he dances, and I will stress again, the animation in this show is so great because no one dances the same. Everyone looks different when they dance. They have their own body language for how it looks. And it's so good. So I say Muto is the ballerina in the music box because it's this idea that in the box, there's a little ballerina in the box. She dances perfectly, but she's stuck in there and she can't do anything else, and she is nothing more than just a doll. And that's the whole idea of the music box dancer.
I see. That's cool.
Oh, and then we meet 10 out of 10! Best fucking character, Fakir. He is an asshole, and I love him. Thoughts on Fakir? Fakir
is, from what I've seen, he's kind of the most enigmatic character. I still don't really know what's up with him. He's pretty interesting. I'm just very curious because he doesn't seem to be referred to in any of these fairy tales that they're going over. Like, they're all, the stories are becoming real. They're bleeding out into reality, and that's what's going on. But with Fakir, like, he hasn't been referred to at all, and yet he seems the most concerned for Muto out of anybody.
Yes, I like that you can, like, he's rude about it, but you can sense it's not really malice. It's just like this extreme worry, and it's kind of like the feeling of like a mother who has already lost one child trying to take care of their other one.
Yeah, something like that.
And I really like that, but at face value, lots of people think he is the villain of the story.
No, definitely not. I mean,
No.
that'll be Drosselmeyer.
Yes. I like that it is definitely, which is the next part. Actually, no, I actually wanted to quickly shout out Mr. Cat, probably one of the best characters.
Right, I wanted to ask you about Mr. Cat.
Yeah.
Is there any correlation between him and some kind of ballet story, or any story, really? Because I need to know if there is a reason for his existence.
Okay. There is, yes and no. I don't think it was an actual ballet, or maybe someone did turn it into a ballet. I think it's based off of a children's book where it was like animals doing ballet, like an old children's book. I forgot, and it's only in German. I forgot. I have no idea what it was called. I was watching like a top 10 Princess TuTu facts video, and it mentioned that, but I don't remember what it was called. And that's basically why there are random animal people in this world.
Yeah, I assumed it was something like that because that's kind of an interesting angle of the story. Is they're talking about how the stories are becoming real and bleeding into that world, and it's not just the Prince and the Crow and the Princess TuTu story. It's it's all these different stories, and it keeps happening, and it's just kind of happening without anybody noticing.
Yes.
And the way that it happens like that, I think, paints Drosselmeyer in a really interesting light, because he just loves all of it.
Yeah.
He just thinks it's funny, and I can appreciate that.
Definitely. Totally. His Mr. Cat's theme song is the Wedding March. The reason he's obsessed with marriage is because of that book he was based off of, or something. The Wedding March from A Midsummer's Night Dream. So we got some Shakespeare going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it's worth noting that unlike Duck, this Mr. Cat guy is actually drawn much more realistically as opposed to Duck, who has the anime face projected onto a duck body.
When Duck turns into a duck, she's supposed to be kind of cute and lovable, and all the animal people in the town, like Mr. Cat, they're kind of supposed to be creepy or like funny.
Yeah, I can tell there is a lot of personality in these Google images I'm pulling up, as opposed to Duck when she's just like cute or sad.
Mm-hmm.
With those big anime eyes, you have a very specific feeling that's coming from Duck.
Right. Okay, before we start talking about Drosselmeyer, I need to talk about when they're doing their ballet warm-up. Part of the reason I love Mr. Cat is he's written just like a ballet teacher, like a proper fucking ballet teacher. And so when they do their warm-up, it's actually different from other schools that I have attended, but I like it. They go from first position to second releve, and then they switch to third releve, and then they do arabesques on the bar. I don't know. I mean, we missed part of it because Duck was daydreaming, but I got really fucking excited. Oh, also, if at any point you don't understand what the fuck I'm saying, because I'm saying it in French, ask me what I'm talking about. Because I just throw ballet terms out like they're nothing.
Well, yeah, go ahead and do that. It'll sound really impressive and make you seem like you know what you're talking about.
I wonder why the fuck I know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's because I done ballet my entire fucking life. And I'm the teacher of this class. No talking!
Oh, sorry. I forgot about the fucking shit. Go ahead.
We are in a ballet class. Respect. In my note, I have, the special class girls are cool because they do point. One of my favorite things in this was basically one of my overall my favorite thing in Princess TuTu is the fact that it was definitely made by someone who knows and respects ballet, because I'm pretty sure if any other person made this, Duck would be doing point ballet. Because average people don't know the difference between point ballet and ballet. So what?
Would you care to elaborate on that difference?
Yes. So you know when.
All I know about it is that if you do it wrong, it can really mess up your feet.
Fucking hell. Okay. So when you think of like a normal ballerina with like the tutu, and she's like on the tiptoe of her toe, like it's a special shoe. I might edit in a picture of the shoe. If not, Google it. Google point ballet shoe. All of you right now, Google point ballet shoe. It's spelled Pointe point.
Oh, don't worry, Google will autocorrect you even if you misspell shoe.
Amazing.
Like I just did.
Amazing.
All right.
Okay, so it's like, you look at that. Oh my god. So you see that is a point shoe. That is what it actually is, and that is the advanced ballet, and then all the other ballet slippers are what you start out in. And I just really like that because I would have been pissed off because, one, Duck is definitely too young and inexperienced to do point, and it's very insulting when you see someone who has never done ballet in those shoes just fucking around.
Would you say that Rue manages to be a little bit more convincing with how experienced she is and is able to do it at the same age?
Actually, Rue is older.
Oh, is she? I didn't notice.
Yes, I think Rue, Muto, and Fakir are all supposed to be like 13 or 14, and Duck is like 11 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot start doing point ballet unless you have had at least 6 years of training and you are over the age of 12. Because your bones and your ankles are not developed enough yet. And then it's like you have to like take a test and get your feet checked to make sure they're flexible enough and all of that.
See, ballet is kind of fascinating to me with respect to things like that, because it's just like this weird, absurd, just niche art which is only perpetuating itself on its own values. It only keeps being ballet because there are people who want it to keep being ballet. Like the actual form and tradition of the moves of ballet would not be considered with they wouldn't be held to such standards unless people just kept perpetuating it. It's like it just exists for the sake of itself, and I find stuff like that to just be very interesting for the people who are into it.
Yes, I also find it very interesting how ballet has basically been the same thing for 500 years.
Right, the fact that it
very,
can just,
yeah, it's very different from when it was first invented. Ballet was first invented in Italy, actually, during the Roman Empire. And
don't ask me.
Yeah, and that's where it first came, but that was a lot more bombastic and not as proper. And then sometime a French king married an Italian woman or something, and she brought ballet over to France, and that is when ballet as we know it happened. It is, and it has been the same for all those years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we can get into Drosselmeyer. I want to make note that his theme is March from the Nutcracker. And
and Drosselmeyer is the big bad guy, right?
he is the author of this story, and he does whatever he wants. Also, in my notes, in that scene, Waltz of the Flowers has never been so dramatic. Waltz of the Flowers is one of my favorite ballet pieces, dance and musically wise. And it's kind of like, for some reason, with the imagery of Drosselmeyer appearing in random things and floating around, it becomes somewhat unsettling, even though it's like the exact same music still. Like, it hasn't been like changed in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really pretty fucking pumped about that because I love that song. So Drosselmeyer, like I said, fucking idiots who watch the show would think that Drosselmeyer is just kind of a funny, goofy guy, and he, they would think that he was, for like traditional magical girl show standards, they would think that Drosselmeyer is one of the good guys because he gives Duck the power to become Princess TuTu.
But I think you'd have to be not paying attention to think he's actually some kind of good guy, because he does give her the stipulation,
Yes.
hey, if you do the one thing you desire most in this world, you'll die.
It's implied because she says, I would give my life for Muto to smile again, and he's like,
Right, she says
And he
that
comes
twice,
in.
and then the second time he shows up, but he's like, yo, I can make that happen, but you gotta work with me.
Yeah, and it's like, she like panicked and said yes, and or it was also basically implied that she always had the power, but she just awakened to it during that time. Cause he was like, do you remember who you are? And she's like, yes, I am Princess TuTu. And then she turns into Princess TuTu in one of the most amazing magical girl transformation sequences to ever be animated, and I love it. It's beautiful. 10 out of 10.
What is that noise?
What noise? It's
It might just be me.
you're being haunted. Or what? I don't know. Fucking podcast. Yeah, Princess TuTu is beautiful, and I love her, and she makes me happy, and I get excited, and it's like, oh god. So Muto is falling out of the window, and it's like the whole transformation happens, and Waltz of the Flowers is playing, and then her magical power is Waltz of the Flowers, and he falls into this meadow and rises up, and it's beautiful.
That's something I wanted to touch on, is like the ballet moves in this universe. There's like this kind of sub-dimension that appears whenever she transforms into Princess TuTu, and like in that dimension, ballet moves just hold magic power.
Yes.
And I guess she can like take in whoever she wants. Because in in the first episode here, we have Muto, he's falling, and she just generates like a whole ton of flowers for him to fall on, and then he's fine. In the second episode, we see Anteater, like
no spoils.
No. I mean, we're getting there eventually.
Get there. No.
It's relevant to the point I'm making. I'm gonna keep talking about it. I'm just gonna
listen to the teacher. Potty
Okay, but
please, do you fucking please?
It is possible that people will watch Princess TuTu because of this podcast.
It's just the second episode. We're getting there in like 10 minutes.
Oh.
But okay. Okay, but yeah, there's just like there's a subspace thing, which I find interesting.
Fine. Okay. And then the episode ends.
Yep.
I never watched the ending theme. So, even I watched the show 3 times, never watched the ending theme. So
Not even once?
No, I have nothing to say about it.
I watched it once. There's one
Is it
shot,
nice?
I don't know if it has any relevance at all, but it's really funny, where when Duck is watching Muto for the first time, and she like leans way the heck over, like basically horizontal,
Yeah.
And they seem to put a lot of emphasis on that scene. Is that anything special?
I would have to see a picture of it, honestly. But I don't know, maybe she's doing an arabesque, I don't know. And then, okay, now we go to episode 2, The Heart Shard. The subtitle of the episode is Swan Lake Finale. I don't know why. The wiki doesn't say anything else about it. Huh. Alright then, so we basically just start where we left off, and we get some more things explained, and we learn, and it does a really good way of establishing that when duck does anything like a duck, usually quacks, she'll turn back into one, but if she goes into water, she turns back into a girl.
Seems like almost backwards of how it should be. Because...
What if she quacks while in the water?
No, she just stays a girl. No, they showed that.
Does she create a black hole?
No, they actually fixed that problem right away, and she quacks again when she turns back into a girl. And she stays a girl. And we meet a new character, Adele. And she's weird and cryptic.
Is she a ballet?
No. Yes and no, because Drosselmeyer is supposed to be the toy maker from the Nutcracker. That's kind of who he represents. And Adele is one of the toys that he makes.
Okay.
So that's like a yes and a no, but
yeah, I
she's
see
cool. She's pretty cool. She has a very weird design. She looks like she's from a Professor Layton game or something. I like her. 10 out of 10. And so then we just kind of go back to Duck being socially awkward antics. And my note says Duck is me because it's like she's trying to talk to Muto and she's just like panicking. She like says something and then like in her head she's like, "Oh, you fucking idiot. Why did you say that? It's so obvious."
Right, and that's another scene where the kind of obvious juxtaposition between the attitudes of these two characters narratively kind of comes out. Because, she's over here having a little shoujo romantic interest breakdown, and he just does not care because he has no heart.
Yeah, he can't, he doesn't understand, he doesn't feel.
He's just like, yeah, not really.
And then we meet a great character, Antimattertape. There are so many animal people now. And she just comes over and it's like, "Hey, you're dating that other girl, right?" And he's like, Yeah. And he's like, "What if you date me instead?" And he's like, "Okay." Then she licks him.
To be honest, still way better than all of the drama reality TV shows that I've tuned into for 5 seconds.
Yes. You think that Antimattertape is, gonna be a terrible character when you first see her? Like in my rewatching it, I was like, "Oh, this character, I don't like her." But then it's like, even the one episode throwaway character, this is basically like a comedy episode, honestly. Even she has a really good arc, and she's very well written, and at the end, you're like, yeah, good character.
Yep, definitely get that. You got that, yeah. I see what you did there, yeah.
She's probably someone's waifu.
Honestly.
And then more Duck turning into a duck shenanigans because Rue is coming that way, drama. And it's like, oh, you don't want her to see that. Her man being stolen by a fucking anteater. But Rue is just like, nah, it's okay. I know I'm a tough bitch, and I'll win. So, it's like, huh. And it's like, and then it just makes me more interested in Rue. Like, I wanna pick her brain. I wanna know what she's really feeling, you know?
Right, because we know that Muto has, like, an actual thing going on with him, but then we don't understand Rue at all yet. She seems a bit too fine.
Yeah. And we do get, like a taste in the next scene. I also really liked what Mr. Cat said in that scene. What was it? Take a day off and you'll notice. Take a week off and your class will notice. Take a month off and the audience will notice. You must practice every day. I really like that good life quote.
Yeah, that's words to live by.
Yes. And then so Antimattertape and Muto do a pare too, and it's like, but for some reason she takes the male role and he takes the female role. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it looked something like that. I got a little bit more convinced that was what it was the second time I watched it. She seemed to be taking control of the situation.
Yes, which is
Wait,
really
so
good.
Is this anteater a literal anteater?
Yes.
Wow.
Just a literal anteater in the whole ballet getup.
Yes, and it's great. But
And she has a super moe voice.
she does. Going back to what you said about how she takes control, that there's a thing called ballet miming, which is the fact that you have, when you're doing a ballet, you can't use your speech, and you have to convey through your dance and simple hand motions and stuff what you're trying to say. And what she is saying in that, later on, when she's in the battle with Tutu, she says the way to dance is to make the audience, is to control your audience, make them succumb to your power, which is already demonstrated in her pare 2 with Muto.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really great. And then my favorite scene in the whole show, the Rue and Duck's pare 2. It's so adorable, and I love it. I've written out. I'm pretty sure that was the reason why you started watching the show, was because in the chat I was analyzing that scene step by step.
Right, you were getting pretty into this one.
Yes, I got way into this. It's a great establishment of how the characters do feel about each other and how they will in the future. How it is they'll, it is like obvious that Rue is just an amazing dancer, but the fact that she really never looks at Duck. Like she does later on, but at the beginning she's kind of in her own world. Like they're dancing together, but she's kind of doing her own at the same time. And Duck, is super nervous. She doesn't know what to do, really. She's not very good, but eventually, Rue dances so well that eventually she gets into the flow and she starts having fun, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yep, you got like where Rue just says jump and then Duck does it, and then she's like, "Oh my god, I'm doing it. I'm doing the move."
Yeah.
It's like this huge character building moment for both of them, really.
Yes, they clearly established in the first episode when her and Duck and her friends were having a little conversation, and she was just stretching her leg on the bar. It established that Duck kind of has trouble keeping her legs open in that split. And so when she does the jump, she's like, she can do it without having trouble. And it's like, wow. And it's, it's like, don't worry about it. You just got to keep going.
Mm-hmm. And this does a really good job of endearing us to Rue specifically, because we haven't really met her yet. All we've kind of seen is that she's a little bit spacey, a little bit cagey. But now we have her. She seems really nice. And that impression kind of sticks around for a long time.
Yes, a big sister type character for Duck to look up to and appreciate. Which is, and, Rue is just like an automatic fave. I love her. She's beautiful. She's cool. Great. 10 out of 10. And so, Auntie Irina gets super upset, and she's, like, running away crying. She slaps Muto, and, like, you get more into, like, that scene with her and Muto basically confirms that, yeah, he just doesn't understand any emotion at all.
Yep.
Like, yeah, and so and then you see, it turns out there's a heart shard. And so, Princess TuTu comes out. And, so, it happens every episode, Princess TuTu. She does the little thing where she, like, moves her hands above her head and then she says dance with me. Doing that thing is an actual ballet thing you do in a ballet for when you want to say, when the characters are saying to each other, dance with me. But she also says it.
Yeah, I got that impression.
Yes. I like doing that. It's fun and cool. And so Auntie Irina starts doing fouettes like a fucking boss. Fouettes are really hard. And it's amazing that she can do them, even in the magical place. And, and then, God, and she has this great, again, with the animation, she has this great body language in that part when she's doing the fouettes, because fouettes are a power move in ballet. If you want to establish someone is a powerful character or someone very important, you have the character do a bunch of fouettes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Princess TuTu is like, this isn't how you dance. This isn't how you really feel. You shouldn't be dancing like this.
You shouldn't be aggressively just pushing outward and striking out.
Yes, you should be So then they start to dance with each other, and it's beautiful, and she starts realizing, like, oh, dancing is having fun and being with someone and enjoying your performance and enjoying that people like your performance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's really hard to explain this kind of thing without showing.
It's for the love of itself. It's just this self-perpetuating niche art. There's no reason to get so worked up about it, to be so aggressive. Really,
Yes.
At the end of the day, it's all just about enjoying what you can about it.
Yes, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And so Muto gets his first Heart of Shard, which is
The element of loneliness.
No, it wasn't loneliness.
It wasn't
That's
loneliness?
a different one. It was bitter.
Bitterness or sorrow or something.
Yeah, it was like some type of bitterness, and it's like, this already sets up. I don't know if I should. I'll mention it now. It's kind of like you have to have a negative emotion to appreciate the positive ones. Mm-hmm. So it kind of sets up that Muto is going to be getting all the negative emotions first. You know, jealousy, sadness, anger, things like that.
Yeah, and that's
then,
a really interesting angle for it, honestly.
Yeah, I really like that because, again, with the whole ballet storytelling, most ballets are tragedies. Not all of them have happy endings. Or they have very melancholy endings, like Swan Lake.
All my Barbie movies had wonderfully happy endings.
This is not one of your fucking Barbie movies! Again, viewers, do not watch the Barbie movies. They are not accurate representations of the ballet art.
I don't think there was any concern of that happening.
I don't think they have ballet in them.
They do, actually. They actually have actual proper ballet, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because I recently rewatched the Swan Lake one because it's free on YouTube.
Well, I only remember the wacky villains and the terrible 3D
my
animation.
God. Okay, Okay, so let's just talk about this for a little bit because I need to talk about this one character. I can never pronounce the name of the evil wizard raven in Swan Lake because it is too German for me. Or no, wait, it's Russian, I think. Whatever. It's like Zirgorif or something like that. But anyway, he's the evil wizard, and he has a daughter who is the Black Swan. And in the fucking Barbie movie, she talks like this.
Yes, that is exactly it. The memories are coming back.
That was an amazing noise. I am very impressed.
It haunts
You've
my
unlocked
childhood.
my Barbie shard of bitterness.
Oh, no!
Oh man, who would have ever thought that this entire podcast actually secretly had a character arc the whole time?
Oh my god! Now, you know what this means now? That means now you have to be in every episode, but still not watch Princess TuTu.
And you could just have...
I don't know, it might be hard to not watch Princess TuTu because you guys have been talking about it, and personally, I'm not really into ballet because, it's just people, waving around little noodle arms.
Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out of my house! How dare you disrespect my craft and my art and my whole fucking life!
I think he's trying to make an attempt at praising our ability to describe this thing in a manner which is interesting.
But yeah, it does sound like the characters in the show have emotions and interactions that are interesting. So, if even if they have to communicate that through ballet, it sounds like it would be interesting for me to watch.
Well, hey, we did it.
I would like to recommend to you and anyone watching. I'll put a link when we put this up and in the chat later to if you haven't watched already, the Best Guys Ever video about Princess TuTu.
Yep, that's a good one.
It's very good. Okay, I guess that's the end of class. Please give your reverence. Third, B minus, curtsy. Third, B minus, curtsy. Google ballet reverence.
Nope, I just did all that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, watch your feet.
I put on point shoes and did power moves.
They're not flattes. They're just power moves.
It's just the official term of it now. Okay.
Okay. And the next episodes we will be watching are 3 and 4. The Princess's Vows and Giselle. Leave my class. Do your warm-ups every day, and I want you all to have a split by next class.
Okay, bye.
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 Yay.
want to do a sing now?